Amen.
Episode 5, the Pheonix of Trauma. Sorry, hold on one second. I did something. I got into the actual script looking for something. Just give me one moment here. All right. Episode 5, the Pheonix of Trauma, over Black. The father, boy, and girl are heard at dinner. A waitress is heard. Mari, do you mind just covering the waitress?
Sure.
Thank you.
So that is the quarter chicken meal, dark meat 3 times 3, right?
Do you have the treasure chest? I want a toy.
I promise I will bring that later. Don't you worry.
Yes, and can you bring the bill now, please? The kids have to go to school.
We have Greek school.
Got it.
Why did you tell her you have Greek school?
Because we do, Baba.
She don't need to know that. That is our business. They don't need to know it.
I'm sorry, Baba.
If she's saying what kind of a school, fine, it's no secret, but we don't need to give them more information. Always keep the family information close. Catalabes?
Yes, Daddy.
Caption: no matter what any struggle accomplishes, time, life, death bring in their changes, and new oppressions are always forming from the ashes of the old. The Normal Heart, Larry Kramer. Exterior, Beavermead Park Trails, morning, 2023. Dean and John are on a walk with Stella. It's nice to take her through a different forest. I think it's good for her, though she seems to be starting to feel as familiar with this one as she is with the one behind her house.
I think it's nice for us to have the change of scenery too. We're very lucky to have access to that forest, though, so close by. I hate that I let our feelings about the town and our place in it keep us from using it for so long.
We're there now, though. And since we started the twice daily forest walk, Stella's in better mental health, but so are we. It's a little awkward now when we pass the school and it's lunch break and the little kids want us to come to the fence so they can pet her. And we can't because of what that teacher said.
What was it she said exactly?
One of the kids told their parents about Stella the dog, who they can pet at the fence for a second sometimes. The parent called the school and apparently said something about not wanting their kid going close to dogs as they might attack or something. The teacher said she thought it was stupid, but we can't let the kids pet Stella anymore.
Helicopter parents.
That's what the teacher said was said. I can't help but wonder, though, is that what she said?
What do you think she said?
I just wonder. I mean, my child came home and said, Mom, the 2 men who live near the school walk by with their dog every day at lunchtime. I do not want these gay groomers near my child using their dog to have access to our kids. In this climate politically, I just feel that that was what was said. Maybe that's my trauma speaking. I don't know.
Or maybe we were living in the time of helicopter parenting and the mother had a traumatic experience once with a dog. I'm not saying that it's not what you said, but the simplest answer is often the right answer, and we're better if we can assume positive intention as best we can. I mean, I have the triggers too. I lived in New York for 14 years. Sometimes you're walking hand in hand with a boyfriend or not, remember? And you get to a corner and you let go.
Well, you don't know who's on the other side of that corner.
And you need to be ready to put so much space between you, a boat could pass and say you're friends at any moment. We know what they do. We know what they could be thinking always. We all do. I am doing my best at this point in my life, though, to focus on trying to see the good where I can.
Interior, PCVS High School, Miss Aikens' art classroom, 2003, day. Miss Aikens, Teresa, Bob, Dean, Hugo, Jason, Lisa, Rachel, Dave, and some other kids are gathered. Among the new kids is Maroon. She is trans, but now she is an egg. In all black, fishnet gloves, black nail polish, emo hair, pierced nose. We're missing Maroon. What about a zine? Sage, you're muted.
My bad. Oh my God, that's a great idea. The Trenton Queer Collective did that, and it was so cool.
That is a great idea. What would it be about?
I could do a fashion column for it. Maybe some theater reviews.
Could just write some good poetry, share some song lyrics, some found art.
I could do some pieces on our right to be seen, on our right to be accepted.
You kids are lucky. We would have been writing pieces on our need to be allowed to exist had we been able to write pieces at all. I wish Ray had gotten to see this. A GSA in a public high school encouraging kids to write about their lives as gay kids. He would have turned to me, looked me right in the eye and said, Bob, let's just focus on getting to tomorrow without losing our teaching jobs for being seen together.
Is Ray gone?
I held him in my arms for weeks. Nurses wouldn't touch him. Doctors wouldn't touch him. His mother came to the hospital. She saw him from a distance, looked at him in horror, and then she left. She didn't realize I saw her. Oh, I saw her. I saw them all turn away while we died. I saw them go from calling it gay cancer to GRID, gay-related immunodeficiency disorder to AIDS, to figuring out that the AIDS virus led to AIDS. And then I saw them die, one after another. Ray, Stephen, John, David, Julian. Oh, Julian. Julian slept with every one of our husbands, and we got even with our husbands by sleeping with Julian. They all died, except for those of us who didn't, the survivors. We just survived. None of us ever understood why. Well, better men than us were taken, better looking, smarter, chaster even, but we survived. Some of us have spent the rest of those decades trying to make sense of our own survival.
Teresa moves toward Bob. She offers her arms. He hugs her.
Bob, would you be willing to write about that period for the zine?
It is a story that needs to be told. Our generation's trauma softened the trauma for you kids today. Your trauma will soften the traumas for the next ones. Maybe someday the trauma will end, or we at least find a way to live with it.
The Pheonix living room, evening 2023. Dean and John are sitting on the sofa. Dean is on his phone. Well, it is illegal to have a gender-neutral washroom in yet another state now.
I grew up in the South and the Midwest. You love to act surprised. Unfortunately, I'm not surprised by any of it.
I just always figured things would continue getting better for us, not worse.
I think we all hope for that.
Dean and John sit in silence. A beat.
You know, some of us just assumed we'd be dead by now. You were born in the 80s. You were a little kid in the early 90s. I remember that period. I remember watching the news. I remember hearing about queer people dying. I remember believing that if that is what I was, that I would die. I might have made different choices if I grew up believing I would live.
The same living room, 2003, day. Dean is sitting in the same seat. June approaches him.
Your father and I set up an appointment with a family counselor.
A secular counselor, right? Not someone from church.
Well, I got his name from the minister's wife, but yes, he is a secular counselor.
So when are we going?
Tomorrow after school.
Thank you, Mom.
Costa, I would also like you to go to this program at the church the minister's wife recommended. Just once. If you don't find it helpful, I won't ask you to go back.
What program?
It's called The River. Would you go once for me?
Okay, once.
Just please go in with an open mind.
I'll go. When is it?
It's tonight.
Exterior, the Calvary Pentecostal Church, night 2003, an establishing shot. A massive building, very wealthy, very modern. The type of church with an endless multimedia budget. Interior, the Calvary Church, continuous. Dean is in a room filled with men who are much older than him. An older man is leading the session. The older man is very flamboyantly gay. His name is Jeff.
We are all here today because in one way or another, we are sexually broken. We all also have the eternal love of God through to guide our way. I am going to start with my own story. I know some of you won't think you relate to it. Most of you are here because of the sexual infidelity and won't think that my story is anything like yours. It is, though. When we are divided from healthy communion with Christ, we seek to fill the hole, and often we do that through sex. For most of you, that was cheating on your wives. For some, like me, it was falling into homosexuality. We are all the same, though. We are like a river flowing with God's love, but over time, we allow boulders to block the flow of that love. This program is about identifying and moving those blocks. I was in the homosexual lifestyle for years. I lived in Toronto. I worked in theater. I had many partners. None of them made me feel loved. Then AIDS came. It became clear to me that God was telling us something. I heard his call. He was telling me he loved me and that he wanted me out of that. I started going to church. Less than a year later, I met my wife. We had 3 children, and now I have 10 grandchildren. God never gave up on me. Instead, he gave me abundance. God won't give up on you either. There is healing for all of us. We have to move the boulders, though.
The men in the room seem uncomfortable. Dean looks on Jeff with pity. Exterior, the Calvary Pentecostal Church, night 2003. June pulls up to the door. Dean gets in the car.
I can't go back to that. I will leave again. I can never go back there.
Sorry I made you go. I will never ask you to go back.
Dean hugs June. A tear streams down his face.
I love you, you know.
Interior, a therapist's office, day 2003. The office is filled with rattan furniture and a modern farmhouse aesthetic. The therapist is around 60, female, conservative looking but kind. Dean, June, and George sit on the sofa.
I want to point something out to both of you. Normally, when we have teens here with parents, they are angry, they are swearing, they are yelling at their parents. Dean here is calm. He's trying his best to remain respectful. He comes to you from a point of love, and he is asking you to listen to him. Dean, I want you to see that they are here. They don't understand. They have beliefs that you are challenging, but they're here because they love you. Our time today is up, but I would like to see you each individually. Dean, you and I, George and June together, then we can reconvene as the 4 of us and continue working through this. How does that sound?
A Mexican restaurant, day 2023. Dean, June, and John are there. They are eating their meal. Aren't you glad I made you get the meal, Mom?
Yes, this is so good.
In Mexico, they bury it and build a fire on top. You'll have to go sometime.
I've always wanted to go to Mexico.
You should. It's a wonderful place.
The only place that far south I've been is Jamaica for Sarah's wedding. We didn't leave the resort, though. Have you 2 been to Jamaica?
It's not a place that's overly safe to go as a queer person.
What do you mean?
Well, they still have laws against homosexuality on the books that they're actively enforcing.
Yeah, holdovers from English colonial era laws.
You know, I never thought about that. There are still places in this world it's unsafe to travel to.
Yeah, and even here, we can't ever let our guards down completely.
That really hurts my heart a lot. I don't know why, but I was thinking about that time we started family counseling when you were younger. I know we told you we didn't go back after that first session because it cost too much. But the truth is, I don't think your father and I were ready yet. Your father especially felt like he was being attacked. I'm sorry.
To be honest, I'm not sure that we were ready for that then either. Interior, Pheonix living room, later that evening. Dean, John, and June are getting home from the restaurant. George is in his seat on the recliner.
June, did you eat? I thought we could go to Vasily's restaurant for souvlaki.
Oh, we had Mexican food for lunch, but we should all go for dinner.
Okay, we can go later. Just thinking nice to go out.
How is Vasily anyway?
He is good. He's saying he will retire and give the restaurant to his son, but it's never going to happen.
Interior, a Greek restaurant, Peterborough, evening, 2023. George, Dean, John, and June are at a table. An older Greek man, Vasily, is sitting with them. He's around George's age.
It's nice to see you, Costa. Why your dad never telling me you got married?
I don't know. Ask my dad.
You don't need to know everything. Well, you need to telling the whole Greek church everything. Malaka.
Well, it's very nice meeting you, John. Next time you get married, you inviting me, huh? To the wedding, you understand?
Kamata. He's okay.
He pulls John in and gives a noogie. He laughs.
You think I'm serious? John is good guy, but just like Costa, always so serious.
Do you remember, Georgios, when we were in Kingston at the Miss Diane restaurant cooking?
Of course I remember. I wasn't drunk the whole time, you malaka.
Those were good days, before your father meeting your mother. He used to go into the Tim Hortons after work, me, your dad, and a few Greeks, always very late. Only Tim Horton open. Anyways, we always talk in Greek. We were all young guys, 26, 30 in there, just come to learn English. We would go every night, almost in those days.
Do you remember that night? The woman came to our table and started yelling at us to speak English.
Oh, yes, I do. You told her she was a bitch and she looked like a truck.
I didn't know how to sing which, but I just learned truck in my English class that morning. I would finish with you guys 2 in the morning and then go to the free government English class for immigrant in the morning. I almost sleeping in class every day. The teacher used to threaten to kick me out. My night with you guys, the only time I could just talk, be. And that bitch coming telling me I need to speak English? I'm not speaking to her. They don't want us here. They don't want us keeping our languages or anything like that. They're looking for an excuse to hating us always. Remember that, Costa?
Your father was always like this, taking it so serious. Anyway, how was the souvlaki?
It's really good. Thank you.
I don't like other Greek restaurants around here using a sour cream instead of yogurt and tzatziki to be cheapy. I make it right. At least they're making Greek food. Your dad over here, first he had a pizza place, Italian, he closed it. Then bought the diner, eggs, no Greek food.
People not wanting more Greek food. We have enough Greek food here. Anyway, you don't make Greek food that good anyway. You're putting too much canela in everything. Ligo, a little goes far. You smoke so many cigarettes, though. I don't think you're tasting anymore.
They love your Greek salads.
To your face, they are nice, Costa, but they want us to come and be like them. Vasily, you make them Greek food. Let me making the eggs.
You want Uzo?
You got a license?
License. In the coffee cup, Malaka? You gonna tell me? I know selling it. You don't remember you and your father used to come here? You were like 9, 10 years old after you closed the pizza place. I was closed. You would sit here, drink Uzo and wine in coffee cups, just less men. You, me, your dad, and my son Sakis. You don't remember?
Of course I remember. You smoke cigarettes in here all night. Amazing Taki and I have functional lungs.
These Canadian kids, we can never talk to our fathers like that. I am getting 5 Uzos now. Costa, no water in yours, right? Put it on your chest.
None for me, thanks. Too strong.
You want wine?
Okay, a little bit. Let me help.
Cazzo. Oh, cazzo. Vivian, get us some Uzos and some wine for June. My wife will bring it.
Dean's bedroom, night, 2023. Dean and John are in bed. Dean is crying.
What's wrong?
Celie just got me thinking about something. Did I ever tell you about that hate crime in Astoria?
Halloween, the year you got to New York?
Yeah, exactly. Of course. I got my apartment through my dad's brother in Greece, my uncle, who was married to a woman who had a brother in the US on Long Island who knew a guy in the Greek community who had an apartment for rent in Astoria. So I understood that Greeks slipped out for each other. I remembered going to Vasily's with my dad as a kid. So I'm walking down the street from the Western Union where my aunt had just sent me money so I could have it right away because I was starving. And I had brought the costume from when I did Frankenfurter in Rocky Horror in high school for a cabaret.
I still don't believe that story.
So I was minding my own business, but because I was dressed as Frankenfurter, kids started throwing eggs at me and yelling, "Faggot." I ran, I got away, but I had no cell phone or money for a payphone. I saw a Greek restaurant. It reminded me of Vasili's restaurant. I was only 18 years old. I walked in. An old man with a komboloi looked me straight in the eye. "You can't come in here covered in egg like that."
Oh, God.
I looked him straight in the eye. I was just pelted in eggs. "My name is Konstantinos Piadinatos. My father, Yorgos, is from Kouchi in the Peloponnesos. I need to borrow your phone to call the police."
And he didn't let you use the phone.
He told me to use the payphone, said to get out of his restaurant. He said it was about the egg, but I knew it was the costume. He looked at me like he felt sorry for my father. I could see it in his eyes.
That was the Imperial, right? Near the Albatross?
Yeah. And when it closed, every drag queen and regular from the Albatross would post on Facebook about how many memories they had there, how welcoming it was. The Greeks of that generation stick together because they felt like they didn't belong. They are fine with xenos being queer. They don't tolerate queerness, though, in their own kind.
Ironic when you think they encouraged it in ancient times.
Yeah, but then they got colonized. Like earlier, what happened in Jamaica, the death penalty for homosexuality in countries in Africa and Asia. We go to a place that sees beauty and queerness, teach them to think like us, go home and unlearn some of our hate, then call them savages for not letting go of what we taught them.
I told you about the cemetery at my grandparents' farm?
Yeah, on the indigenous side, right?
Yes, my grandmother was full Choctaw, as you know. There was a cemetery at their house. As a kid, I asked who was buried in the cemetery. My grandmother casually said that it is where they buried the slaves. This is on the indigenous side. During the early days, Choctaws who helped Americans were gifted enslaved people to work on their fields. My Choctaw ancestors who arrived in the Midwest on the Trail of Tears went on to enslave people.
You did tell me about that. So heartbreaking. And we tribalize ourselves as queers. We claim superiority over each other. We marginalize trans people. We forget that as white people, we remain privileged. We fetishize, trivialize, and demonize those in our own communities who don't share that privilege. We tell our stories as though someone gives a shit. We monologue as though anyone wants to hear us and deep down hope that someone does. We drink, we party, we do anything we can to forget for one moment that there are many who wish we didn't exist. We get accused of being selfish when we just want to be seen. If I were a writer writing this scene right now, I would probably tell him to kill your darlings. A sanctimonious monologue like this is a magic bullet to the flow of a scene. But that would just be his inner voice, once again telling him to just shut up and stop taking space. This faggot isn't doing that anymore. This faggot is telling his truth.
And this one needs to sleep. I'm not silencing your truth, but can we have some more truth tomorrow?
Over Black. If the preceding scene is still there, the writer refused to kill his darlings. Delayed and then. He still probably should have, though. PCVS hallway, day 2003. Dean and Hugo are talking as they walk to the art classroom.
So, food? What about tonight wins the champions?
I'd love that. I can't wait. Oh, wait. I'm a vegetarian.
Oh, they have something, I'm sure. You know somewhere else?
Champions is fine. I'm sure they have something I can eat.
Drama class, 2003. The class sits in a circle on chairs. Teresa is in one of the chairs is speaking.
So, who has heard of Bertolt Brecht?
Dean and a couple other hands go up.
Dean, what do you know about him?
He was the guy with the street scene, right? Everything must have a purpose. If it's on the stage, if someone drinks wine, it should be wine. If a gun is shown, it must be shot, etc.
Yes, exactly. But do you remember what that was all about?
Wasn't it about them allowing the audience not to have extra focus, allowing the audience to not have anything extra to focus on?
Breck wanted the audience to constantly remind themselves that they are the people in the scene, that theater isn't about someone else, it's about the audience. For Brecht, theater was about shining a light on society. He needed the audience not to get so lost in the narrative of the story that they stopped thinking about the world outside of the theater.
But I thought theater has always been about escape for many.
For many, sure, but for Brecht, it was about truth. He believed that theater was about the deeper truth. The Threepenny Opera is about the plight of those on the margins of London, but his audience were those on the margins of German society. When a song breaks out, it's to remind the audience that they're still in Germany, still working class and still stuck there. They're not watching something happen to someone else. If a piece of furniture is on stage, it isn't being interacted with, doesn't belong. So if a prop is seen, it is used, and if a scene is too intense, it stops, and the entire cast does something to remind you that this is just a play. Reality is what you're living.
Teresa and Dean are chatting as students leave the class.
I don't know if Champions is that safe for you two to go on a date. Maybe go to one of the downtown artsy places. You can get a little redneck over there.
Any suggestions?
Oh, what about that vegan co-op place, Grassroots? It's all worker owned and they have a rainbow flag.
All right, I'll suggest it. Teresa, did you ever see Dogville?
Is that the Lars von Trier's movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it. Do you mind walking and talking? I need to get to the third room for the next class.
Of course.
The camera follows them as they walk through the school for the rest of the conversation.
Do you think that is an example of Brecht?
I would say so. The most so, I would say any piece of film. Just be careful with Van Trier's. He has been known to treat female actors horrifically.
That's good to know. I like Brechtian sensibility, though. Maybe I can bring that too. While actually, I wanted to ask you about something.
What's that?
While I was reading The Glass Menagerie by Tennessee Williams, and I wanted to know if I could direct it through the drama department.
I think that's a great idea. And I'll work on getting you a budget. And I even could figure out a way to build a self-curriculum study around it so we can get you some school credits. One last point about Brecht, because I think Tennessee Williams did some things with his influence. Sometimes in order to tell the most difficult stories, we have to remind them that they're watching a story. Then once they feel reassured that we can remind them that the story they are watching is real life and truly snap them into a state of greater awareness. But if you find Brecht interesting, just wait till I tell you about our triad.
Exterior, Grassroots, 2003. The light shines from the restaurant. Interior, the same, continuous. Dean and Hugo sit at a table.
So Teresa said we couldn't go there?
She said it wasn't safe as two guys on a date.
Oh, yes, this is true. They will think we are friends, though, just two guys eating food. That is all they need to think, right?
Yeah, but what if we kiss or hold hands?
While we can't do that because it is no safe to date anyway, my brother could see too. Then he tell my dad he will stop sending us money.
He would do that?
Of course.
While this place is an employee-owned vegan coop, I'm pretty sure your brother isn't going to see us here.
No, you are right. We won't see his food.
So maybe this can be our place then? What page are we on?
You're in the right spot.
I know, but
we're going into 153.
Gotcha. Sorry, for some reason my phone glitched and now I'm off the page I need to be. $153. So maybe this could be our place then, a spot where we can be on a date and not worry about who sees us.
Hugo smiles. He nods. Under the table, continuous. Very discreetly, Hugo takes Dean's hand and intertwines their fingers. Exterior, a parking lot near Armor Hill, night. Cars are lined up, teenagers in a lover's lane. One of the cars is Hugo's. It is very nice for a teenager's car. Clearly his family has a lot of money. Dean and Hugo are inside, sitting in the back seat, side by side, holding hands. Dean leans in and kisses Hugo. Hugo pulls back a second. Hugo comes right in for a kiss. He takes complete charge and starts kissing Dean passionately. Dean reaches for Hugo's shirt. Interior, Piedinato's kitchen, 2003 night. Dean and Hugo are eating lasagna. June walks in.
Hello.
Oh, hi, Mom. This is Hugo from school.
Ah, yes, the guy you told me about yesterday, right?
You told you us.
About how I got home late because I was sitting with you and Anna helping you with work work out your fight.
Oh, yes, I am so grateful for that. They say that's us. Your son is good friend. He don't have the loves and friends in Canada yet.
Well, it is nice to meet you, Hugo, and Anna is a special girl. Be good to her.
George walks into the house.
Hi,
George, what is your name?
I am Hugo. Anna is my girlfriend.
See, Costa, I told you, if you don't ask her, someone else will ask her.
Dad, you know I didn't ask her.
You're telling this guy this bullshit too? Nice to meet you, Hugo. It's good for my son to have friends who are real men. You an immigrant?
Dad!
Oh, only immigrants can understand immigrants, Costa. We have to stay together.
I am from Colombia.
Colombia, huh? Hola, ¿cómo estás? Sí, Costa, you know I speak Spanish, do you? Ever speaking Chinese for you? Lehoma. I speak all the languages a little bit. It's good to speak languages, Costa. That's why I put you in French immersion. He telling you I'm letting him leave French immersion is going to the arts program? Of course not. They only saying bad things about me. He tells everyone I know a good person. After I do everything for him. I shouldn't have let him leave in the French immersion though. Stupid art school putting ideas in his head.
I don't say you aren't a good person, Dad.
He not tell you I know a good person? Huh, my son hates me.
He didn't say he hates you.
I only joking. Everyone always so serious. He ever tell you when we have the pizza place, we have one big guy, he do delivery for us. He's sitting in a restaurant kitchen and he smell no deodorant. Big guy. I used to say to Costa, little kid then, Costa, I adopted you this guy. Wait, that is your real dad. Costa cried and cried. No, Baba, you are my dad. You are my Baba. I said, no, wait, no me. I just adopted you. And then he cried and cried. And I sang, I just teasing. Always so serious. No understanding a joke. Now he probably saying he wishing Wade is his dad. He tells everyone how bad I am. Then he said, Baba, I want you how times they change. What you gonna do?
He walks to his recliner and turns on the TV. Interior, PCVS hallway, day 2003. Dean and Hugo are walking.
I don't think my dad's a bad guy, by the way. He does his best. He works really hard. He isn't a bad guy.
He seemed nice.
He's charming. Everyone is charmed by him. I am too. He wears a lot of armor.
What does that mean?
He doesn't let himself or anyone else feel anything.
I hope that isn't what happens to a lot of the people when they get old.
I don't know. Feeling everything all the time is pretty heavy. It'd be nice to stop feeling so much.
Pero then you wouldn't feel this.
He leans forward and kisses Dean. Dean and he make out right there in the school hallway. Students pass by. Dean pulls away.
Everyone can see us now.
I know.
He leans back in and kisses him again. Interior, PCBS hallway, day 2003. Dean is at his locker. Inside is filled to the brim with copies of Out in the Advocate, rainbow flags, the door lined with posters. Anna walks up to Dean.
Hey, Dean, can I ask a favor?
What is it?
Next time you lie to your mother and tell her I'm dating your boyfriend, would you mind looping me in?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No worries. I just feel terrible though.
Nothing to feel terrible for. I never got the chance to tell you. What happened though?
Well, after your mother dropped you off, I said hi to her. She asked me how things were going with Hugo. I looked at her confused for a second, and then I said, "Oh, yes, things are going really well."
That's it?
Yeah, that's it. I figured out what happened.
You made it sound like the cover was blown.
No, I just hesitated and she might have caught on, that's all.
Thank you for covering for me. You almost gave me a heart attack. I really appreciate it.
She's a good person. She's doing her best.
I know that.
What class do you have next?
English.
Aw, I miss having you in my English class.
Miss Rickon was the best. Do you remember how she used to stop us reading constantly to make jokes about how stupid all the characters were in Midsummer's Night's Dream?
Oh my God, yes, that was hilarious. Or the time she asked you to say the Greek alphabet and you said it the Greek way.
I got the Bolton this year.
Oof, I'm so sorry.
And Bill didn't come. So Mr. Bolton's English class, 2003, day. Mr. Bolton's middle-aged, looks angry at his life. He seems to be uncomfortable in his skin at all times. So at its core, Macbeth is about good and evil. Every character in the play can clearly be placed on the side of good or the side of evil, more so than any of the other plays. I would like a volunteer to come up here and show me on the board the characters in the play represent either good or evil. A few kids raise their hands, Dean among them. Dean, this one will be interesting. Dean confidently draws a line on the blackboard with enough force to make a squeaking noise with the chalk. On one side, he writes good and the other side evil.
I think I'm expected right now to put Macbeth on the side of evil and Macduff on the side of good. Maybe? Let's start there. See where it leads. The next main characters we remember, I suppose, are the witches. But where do they go? They do not cause the evil. They simply provide information. They do not force the hands of Macbeth. They tell them what it is in the future. They predict. They do not create. So then what? Do they still go on the line?
They go on the side of evil.
But why?
Because they're witches. Why don't you just take a seat? Anyone else want to just put the characters on the board and not overthink the story? The Only Cafe, early evening, 2023. Dean, John, and Anna are sitting at a table. Josephine Baker, Oscar Wilde, and Frida Kahlo in the framed photos that come into the shop from time to time.
That was during the Omicron wave. Did I say that right?
Omicron. You are fine. I heard some crazy things during that time. Terrible time to know what the Greek alphabet is supposed to sound like.
He was being adorably passionate about it. Couldn't listen to NPR or the CBC.
My father used to be obsessed with me being a Greek. It was hard because my mother wasn't Greek, but he told me I was pure Greek. I am proud to be Greek, but I am not just Greek. Dean looks ahead. He sees two teenagers at a table. They are kissing. He looks again and he sees himself and Hugo. The Pheonix living room, day. 2003. Hugo and Dean are sitting together on the sofa watching a movie. They are cuddled up together. The movie is Original Sin. They are barely watching it.
So how'd you up in Canada?
My father is a politician in Colombia. There is a lot of danger for family right now with the situation down there. My brother, I were sent here to be safer right now. My father, though it's which a conservative party, his party is very against gay people. I knew I was bisexual forever, but that got I don't down there.
It must be really hard.
I think I can tell my brother leaks maybe. I don't know. He's more modern. just is my dad found out he would stop sending money and what happened to us.
June walks in. Dean and Hugo manage to stop cuddling before she notices that there's a sex scene on screen. Very straight.
What is this movie?
It is called Pecado Original, Original Sin.
That does not sound like an overly appropriate movie. Do you think it is?
Oh, it is fine. Just about a con woman. Relax.
I really don't appreciate you telling me to relax. I'm going to choose my battles, though. How is Anna, Hugo? I haven't seen her in a while.
She's great at scene with her family today.
Say hi to her for me next time you see her.
She leaves the room.
We really need to figure out a place to hang out in peace.
Interior, the spill. Dean and Hugo are sitting at a table eating lunch and drinking coffee.
So yeah, I had a conversation with my brother and I told him everything.
You did?
I did. He was really good about it, actually. Say that he wanted me to be happy and understand. He did say, if you are bisexual, why can't you just be happy with your sins? It is safer with that.
What'd you say to that?
I said that I really like you, and so I needed to see where it would go.
You said that?
See?
What did he say?
He said you could come over if you want to, as us we don't risk without finding out and stop paying the rent for us. Say we had to make sure his kid don't find out we are a couple. My nephew is only 5. We can tell him we are friends.
Of course we can, if it means we can spend more time together.
Interior, Hugo's apartment, bedroom day. Dean and Hugo are in the bed, fully clothed, and Hugo is playing videos.
That is my brother and my cousin and my girlfriend from Colombia. We went to Mexico City for a vacation. It was amazing, a very nice time.
I've heard it's a really cool city.
It is the biggest city in the world.
Really?
Yes, we shall go on Sunday.
Your girlfriend's very beautiful.
So are you.
Do you miss her?
Sometimes. I loved her, but we were not going to end together. We called out for house though.
I would love to learn Spanish sometime.
I will take you. Pero, ¿quieres tener sexo conmigo?
What does that mean?
Eso significa, do you want to making sex with me?
Sí.
Oh, you don't know Spanish?
He leans in and starts kissing Dean. George's car, morning, 2003. George is driving. Dean is in the passenger seat.
So you want to go into an acting school in New York?
Yeah, I do. It's the best school in the world. It's where Robin Williams went.
Okay.
What? Really? Usually you have to think things first.
Since you were a tiny kid, Costa, you said you wanted to be an actor. I saved money for your education. If you want to go to acting school, okay. Just remember what the director said to you in your first play. Sorry. No overreacting.
Overacting, Dad.
That is what I'm saying, overreacting. Just be cool, Costa, like me. This is how you be a good actor. Just be cool. Anyway, here we are. You call me when you are finished watching movies with Hugo.
Yes.
He and Anna still together?
Yes, they are.
That's good. But if they ever broke up,
Dad, Dad, you
I don't
know.
want to hearing it. Why you wanted to hurt me?
Interior, Peter Ignato's family restaurant, day 2023. Audrey is serving. June is sitting down in her apron with a coffee at one of the tables. Dean and John are sitting at the lunch counter talking to her. Other regulars are there. An older gentleman walks in. His name is Chester Wilkins, and he was a custodian at PCVS in 2003. He is very kind looking. His aesthetic is very much your grandfather with a candy in his pocket covered in lint. This is said in terms of the way that aesthetic makes you feel. He conjures the feelings Hollywood sells as the archetypical grandfather. Mr. Wilkins.
Ah, is that Dean Pheonix?
Yes, it is. How are you?
Well, I finally retired.
You earned it.
Tell me about it. Moving those teacher desks in that old building up 5 flights of stairs with no elevator, just me and another custodian. Shockingly, we only ever lost one.
I just remember how shiny the floors always were on the first day.
We'd wax those floors at least 5 layers thick over the summer, because if we didn't, we'd have the floorboards worn down to nothing by spring. And when else is there time to do it anyway?
Did you ever meet John, my spouse?
Ah, you got married. That's wonderful. Yes, I'd love to meet John.
John, this is Chester Wilkins. He's been eating at my parents' restaurants my whole life, even before they bought the diner.
And he worked at your high school.
Yes.
I heard. It is nice to meet you. I'm sure you know everything that happened at that school.
And then some.
But you never reported anything to my parents.
Not my place.
What weren't you reporting to me, Chester?
Audrey?
Is that me?
Yeah.
Okay. If he was anything like me in high school, probably nothing you would have wanted to know.
I had a hard enough time back then with what I did know.
When I think your son back then, June, I think of a really nice, really respectful kid. He always asking really nicely when he needed access to places with his theater involvement. And always said hello. Not all the kids did it. If I'm being honest, maybe that is what I remember.
Conveniently forgetting the black feathers all over the school.
No, I never forgot that. I was finding those for months. But you brought up the black boa, not me. As I said, not my place.
Dean and Hugo are sitting together on a large tree that overlooks the water on the little island peninsula. Anyone who knows the park knows. Nichols Oval, 2003.
Yo.
Yeah. I am aware
so
this
happy that
episode
I'm
is way too long. I think I need to cut it in half or cut it immensely.
Sigo yo, ¿cierto?
Yeah.
Yes. Bien, listo. I am so happy that I met you, Dean.
I'm so happy I met you too.
You are a very special person.
So are you. I truly appreciate meeting you.
But seriously, I think I am falling in love with you.
Wait, what?
Te amo. Te amo, Dean.
I love you too.
Interior, The Only Cafe Night, 2003. Dean and Hugo are at the rainbow dance. The place is full of gay people dancing. Dean and Hugo are dancing like their lives depend on it, as though there's no one else in the room for them. Interior, Dean's room, evening, 2003. Dean is talking on the phone. We can't hear what he's saying. He is laughing and smiling. Interior, Hugo's apartment bedroom, continuous, 2003. Hugo, the other end of the conversation, also laughing, also clearly happy, at peace. Interior, the kitchen of Hugo's apartment. A little boy picks up the second receiver. He hits the mute button. He listens. PCVS hallway, day 2003. Dean is putting up a sign for auditions for the Glass Menagerie. Hugo approaches him.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay. So when you called the apartment yesterday,
Yes.
my nephew was listening to the other phone.
What?
He had us saying, I love you.
Did you talk to him?
My brother told me. He says you can't come to my place anymore. He said if I stay with you will tell my dad.
So What did you say?
Remember, I told you I was at the GSA more because I am bisexual. But now I think I am really more. I hope the day say on LA. I am a straight LA.
That isn't what it felt like last night.
I am straight. We can't say each other anymore. Just friends. I'm bisexual. I am a straight LA.
Okay, friends. I'm glad to have you as an ally.
Pheonix's kitchen, evening 2003. Dean, June, Vicky, and George are at the table. Dean is sitting at the table eating, very silent.
Costa, you okay?
Yeah.
Is the vegetarian lasagna okay? I found this ground beef stuff at the grocery store.
Wait, this no real meat?
No, I made two, George.
Oh, good. I don't want to thinking that what they make fake meat from. Ramatapanayas to these Canadians, vegetarian. Malakare.
Vegetarian. Remember how he used to inhale steaks, trying to impress his weird art friends?
You seem quiet, Costa.
I'm fine.
Okay? You tell me if something was wrong, right?
Okay. Dinner was good. May I be excused?
Okay.
Dean walks to the dishwasher, places his plate inside. He moves toward his bedroom. He collapses on the bed, starts to cry. He looks at his phone book. Numbers are handwritten. He scans it, looking for who to call. He settles on a number. He dials. The phone rings, and an elderly lady gets up and grabs it. Hi, Dean. Yes, I have heard about you. Let me see if she is around. Rachel, telephone. End of episode. Wow. So that's double the length of any of the other ones. I didn't realize that. It was only 10 pages more, so I apologize. For those
There's
of you
some
who are
really
just coming for the
powerful
second
points.
episode.
I think there's some really powerful points, but I think there's definitely some edit moments where some of the longer, I love the longer pieces where you say, he should edit those out. I think you've got to keep those, but there's some other ones that I think.
I think we can scrap Mr. Bolton altogether. I put him in because I didn't want his school to seem too perfect. I wanted there to be something that shows it wasn't perfect, but I think there's enough other stuff in the world that's not perfect that Mr. Bolton can go.
Yeah, or you could have one of the other teachers, Teresa or Aikens, reference something negative.
But anyway,
Yeah, lots of ways.
But yeah, there's a lot that can be trimmed. The Vasily scene is lovely, but it doesn't need to be so long. Anyway, I want to get right into the next one because we're so late on it, and people are, I want to be as respectful as I can. So we'll do episode 6, Rachel. Voices are heard. This time it is not boy and father, it is mana and hijos. The woman that speaks Greek, as does the boy. Subtitles in English tell us what they are saying. I don't expect you to speak Greek, Ash. Just I actually said what I'll do is I'll just read this mana, and you can just read iho, but we'll just read the subtitles, okay?
Okay.
He was in the field. He crouched down. I don't know why the ram did it, but it was very quick. I'm so sorry, George.
It's me, right? As a little kid.
Yeah, you can do that. And then Ash will do the subtitle.
Αλλά χωρίς τον μπαμπά, πώς θα φάμε? Τι θα κάνουμε?
But without dad, how will we eat? What will we do?
All 7 of you boys will need to work. You'll probably need to stop school. Black screen caption. There's just this for consolation, an hour here or there, where our lives seem against all odds and expectations to burst open and give us everything we've ever imagined, though, everything but children. And perhaps even they know these hours will inevitably be followed by others, far darker and more difficult. Still, we cherish the city, the morning, we hope, more than anything for more. Heaven only knows why we love it so. Michael Cunningham, The Hours. Rachel's bedroom night, 2003. Dean and Rachel are sitting down listening to music. Silent All These Years by Tori Amos is playing. The song ends. She's in tears.
Anyway, that is Tori.
She has a beautiful voice. Rachel, thank you for inviting me over.
Figured you'd want to get out.
I really love this one. With rage, a part of me always understood that it was. With Hugo, I thought it was the real deal.
Hope you never lose that
What?
faith in the one, faith in love.
I need to believe that love is real. I need to believe that there's something out there who actually wants me around, who doesn't find me to be so much, who sees me and wants me.
I think all people find each other irritating a great deal of the time, if I'm being honest.
How's your mom?
She is dying.
What? Why didn't you say anything?
No one asked.
Dean holds Rachel close. A parking lot, a funeral home, day 2003. June and Dean are in the car dressed for a funeral.
Remember, it's a huge honor that she asked you to be a pallbearer. This is serious.
I know.
The cemetery, same day, 2003. Dean and Jason are pallbearers, as are Rachel, her grandmother, and her grandmother's partner, Sally. They are carrying the casket. The graveside. Rachel is pouring soil on the casket. June's car, the same day, 2003. June is driving. Dean is seated next to her.
It was a nice service, but didn't you find it sad there was no mention of God or Jesus or even heaven?
I don't think they believe in that stuff.
Must be so hard to lose a loved one and not know that you will see them again someday. I can't imagine how that must feel.
Interior, the Pheonix family restaurant, 2023, day. Audrey is pouring coffees. Dean and John are sitting at a table. June is helping some regulars cash out.
Coffee, Dean?
Yes, please.
John?
I think I'm okay for now.
Audrey pours coffee for Dean.
How is the visit going?
Honestly, I would say really well. George walks out into the dining room.
Why does nobody come to the kitchen and spending any time with me? One day I will be dead and nobody's going to care. Costa, why don't you helping me running errands today? Spending some time together?
Exterior, the Pheonix home, day 2003. A fancy sporty car pulls into the driveway. Rachel honks her horn. Dean comes outside and gets in the passenger seat. Interior, the same car, continuous.
So this was your mother's car?
It was. Just left me her house. I plan to move in right away.
How did your grandma and Sally feel about that?
Doesn't matter. It's my house. I figured we could go for a country back roads joyride.
Various shots. The cut are on various rural back roads, speeding and leaving marks on the road. Tori Amos blasting from the speakers. Interior, Rachel's mother's living room. Dean and Rachel are sitting on the sofa.
I was wondering if you wanted to audition for the Fourth Line shows this summer with me.
Rachel,
Yes?
are you okay? We haven't really spoken about much since the funeral.
I'm fine. Life is good. I miss her, but she wanted me to live. They're doing Cabin Blazers again. Have you read it?
Interior, the Pheonix family restaurant, 2023, day. George comes out of the kitchen and pours himself a coffee. Dean is sweeping the floor. No one else is there.
Why are you sweeping like that? Did no one ever show you how to sweep?
I'm just sweeping so that we can leave and get to dinner. If you think you know better, then do it yourself.
Why you have to be like that? I'm trying to help you. All the time I'm just trying to help you. You're acting like I hate you.
Dad,
Yes.
I was thinking about Papu.
What about Papu?
You were 13 when he died, right?
Yes, I was young.
Did you go to Athens right away?
Pretty much right away, yeah. Stayed with a painter, learned how to paint. Did I ever tell you about the lady I painted her house?
Yeah, you did, the older woman.
Yeah, her. You never telling your mommy about her, right?
Of course not.
Did I ever telling you how hard life was in Costa? How good you having it today. You know, realizing what I'm doing for you and Vicky. Everything I'm doing in this life for you and Vicky.
We both really appreciate everything you do for us.
You know, Costa, I came to this country because I wanted you and your sister to having opportunities. When I went to Athens, the painter I working for, he making me sleep in the barn. I'm telling you this?
You did actually. I'm really sorry that happened to you.
I came to this country because my brother saying we can be partners, make business together, have a future. I wanting my kids to have the life, Costa. I wanting them to have the life. Anyway, I know you think I am a bad person. I know you hate me. Maybe one day you will understand, though.
But we do have the life, Dad. We both have really beautiful lives.
You know how I feel about things, and you know I have no problem with John. He's fine, but it is not him I have a problem with, and you know that. Why do you have to make the picture on your Facebook the kissing now? I asking you nicely to change it.
I'm not going to do that, Dad.
It is about the family in Greece. They asking questions. They want to know who is in the picture with you.
I tell them that it is your son's spouse, but they have already asked me. And the only question they have is, when am I going to bring John to Greece to meet them? Things are changing, Dad, even in Greece. It isn't 1976 in Greece anymore. The country has moved on.
I can't force you. I only asking. I am trying. You know I am trying.
I guess I just figured one day you could love me without having to try so hard. And here, the spill, day 2003. Dave, Dean, Jason, and Francine sit at a table. Dave and Jason are all over each other.
Oh my God, you two really need to get a room.
We have one, but I also like to show off my gorgeous boyfriend.
You two are very cute together.
Exterior, the street outside the spill, a little later. Dave, Dean, Jason, and Francine are outside the door.
While I have to go home, I am afraid.
See you later tonight.
You'd better.
I have to walk that way. Need company?
Sure.
Jason and Francine walk off. Dean and Dave are left.
So you and Jason, you never told me you and Lisa broke up.
Oh, it wasn't so dramatic as that. We just wanted different things. I guess it is the trans masc cliche. I came out first as a lesbian, then a man, and at that point I said I was bi, and then I started testosterone, and here I am, more interested in male-presenting people. Lisa and I chatted, and she understood. Truth be told, she is a lesbian at the end of the day, and I hadn't really started transitioning when we met. She would rather be with a woman. No hard feelings. God, I love that girl. Jason is really cool, though, and we have a deep connection.
I like Jason. I'm glad to see you with him and with such a cool guy.
Here, Rachel's mother's bedroom, evening 2003. Rachel is helping Dean get ready for the rainbow dance.
Does it even matter what shirt I pick? I'll most likely end up dancing topless anyways.
Sure, but you need the right shirt to make the biggest impact when you take it off.
What are you gonna wear?
I don't think I'm gonna go this time.
You sure?
Yeah. Why don't you tell your mom I insisted on you staying the night, though, because I am so torn up about being in the house alone tonight. That way you can stay out as late as you need.
I feel badly using your grief to try to get something out of my mom.
Why? Shitty things happen to us, but when they do, we get to use them as we see fit.
How are you really doing, Rachel?
I am living my best life. I need you to do the same. Go to the rainbow dance, get laid, forget about Hugo and Rage and whatever other boys for 5 minutes and just let loose.
Interior, the rainbow dance, 2003, night. Dean, Dave, and Jason are on the dance floor dancing. Dean is topless and covered in sweat. A young teenager approaches him. The teenager, Joel, is really attractive. He's impeccably dressed. Dean and he start dancing. They start making out. Exterior, outside the only, night. Joel and Dean are outside with all the smokers.
Did you want one?
I don't smoke. Thank you.
Is this me?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. I only smoke when I'm drinking. You're a good kisser. What's your name?
It's Dean. What's yours?
Joel.
All that dancing has really worked up an appetite. I'm starving. Feel like a slice of pizza?
Yeah, I think so.
Interior, the night kitchen, moments later. The night kitchen is a hole in the wall, directly across from the only. Small counter with an espresso machine and 2 stools to sit on. The sliced pizzas are in a display. Dean and Joel are at the counter. Maroon is working behind the counter.
Hey, Maroon.
Dean, how are you?
I'm well. This is Joel.
Hi, Joel. Day-old slice, Dean.
My mother always sends me $5 for school lunch, but the day old here are $1 a slice, so I live off day old slices and use the money for clothing when I have enough.
That is pretty cool. I don't think I've ever been here.
They have shockingly good espresso too. I swear some of them are some of the best in the town.
I'm going to splurge on fresh pizza for both of us and 2 espressos, please. My treat.
You don't have to do that.
I know I don't.
Exterior, Hunter Street, Peterborough, moments later. Dean and Joel are walking, eating pizza and drinking espresso.
Okay, this pizza is really good, and so is this coffee.
I know, right?
I wish I went to school downtown.
It's pretty awesome most of the time. Where do you go?
Crestwood.
I go to these dances all the time. I have never seen you before.
I just broke up with my boyfriend. He hated going out, and I never wanted to go to these alone while we were together.
I'm sorry to hear about the breakup.
Don't be. It was for the best.
I had a recent breakup too. It turns out he was straight all along.
Straight into a dick, more like.
Exterior, an alley on Hunter Street, moments later. Dean and Joel are making out again. They pull apart.
Did you want to go back to the dance?
I don't think so. I would rather hang with you without the noise, if that's okay.
That's very okay.
Let's just take a walk.
I'd like that.
Exterior, George Street, moments later. Dean and Joel are walking down the street, deep in conversation.
I'm going to leave Peterborough as soon as school year ends and summer's over.
Where are you going?
I wish I knew that. New York, I think.
Why New York?
Why not New York? I can be whoever I want to be there. I can reinvent myself. I can date without worrying about people seeing me who know my parents.
But why not Toronto or Montreal?
Because I guess throughout my life, I've always just been drawn to New York. I can't explain it.
Exterior, the ballpark next to the Lions Club, moments later. Dean and Joel are laying in the grass. Joel is smoking a cigarette.
Can I have one of those?
I thought you don't smoke.
I don't, but there's a first time for everything, I guess.
Joel hands Dean a cigarette. Dean takes it and lights it.
So you're at PCVS. Do you know Dan Marinelli?
Let's not do that.
Do what?
Spend tonight talking about other people we know. Let's just enjoy what tonight is.
What is tonight?
I don't know, but it's nice, isn't it?
Exterior, Millennium Park, night, 2003. Dean and Joel are walking past the sculptures of hockey players.
So you've lived in Peterborough your whole life?
I have.
So have I. My parents immigrated to Canada before I was born, though. I've spent my entire life hearing about how this country they chose to raise me in is horrible compared to the place they chose to leave.
That's so relatable. My father was born in Greece, came here because his brother was here. At one point, when he and his brother weren't getting along, he moved to Calgary for a while to live with a friend from Greece and work at a restaurant. That is where we met my mother. Eventually, he and his brother made up and he moved them both this way. And my mother's heart never left Calgary, though, and my father's never left Greece. Yet somehow they raised me in this town, and this town has such a strong grip on me. It somehow feels like both the source of me and the personification of my burdens.
So that is why you want to go far away?
I think so. I think I have to leave in order to figure out who I am on my own terms.
It sounds like this town is the personification of the shit you need to deal with. That shit will follow you wherever you go.
Perhaps, but once I'm in New York, I can sort that out.
Exterior, the path through a wood, late at night, 2003. Dean and Joel are still walking and still talking.
We're almost at my home. My parents are out of town in my aunt's house for the weekend. Did you want to come up with me?
I think I should actually get back to my friend's house. I'm spending the night there. I'm spending the night with her tonight.
You sure?
I think I'm sure. I had a fun tonight, though.
So did I. Did you want my MSN chat info?
Sure, we can do that.
Dean gently kisses Joel.
Joel, I think had we met a different time, we could have had a lot of fun together.
We still could. We have a whole spring and summer.
It's too risky.
What do you mean?
I can't find a reason to stay in Petersboro. What if I fall for you and then I don't want to leave?
Would that be so bad? I mean, right now I am only talking about sneaking into my room while my parents are out of town anyway. This isn't a marriage proposal.
I'm not built for casual. I wish I was. Right now I need to leave this town, though. I need to leave with urgency. My life is on hold until I do.
I wonder how long it will take.
What?
For you to figure out that your life is happening right now, where you are, whether you like it or not. I hope you make it to New York, mainly because that might be what it takes for you to figure that out. Unless you find your own center, it doesn't matter where you live. We get one life each, Dean. It is up to us to live it today, where we are. We can dream about the future, and we should, but today is all that we are promised.
You think you're deep, don't you?
Don't be such an asshole.
They kiss under the stars. The kiss is very lived in and passionate at the same time. Interior, Rachel's mother's house, late night, 2003. Dean is trying to be very quiet so as not to hear Rachel and so as not to wake up Rachel, and starts to get into the made-up sofa. Rachel can be heard yelling from the bedroom.
Dean, is that you?
Sorry to wake you.
Do you mind coming up here? I don't want to be alone right now.
Interior, Rachel's bedroom, continuous. Dean walks into the room. He crawls into bed with Rachel. Tears are streaming down her face. He spoons her gently and holds her.
I drive in her car, live in her house. All I want is to tell her how much I love her.
She knew how much you loved her. I'm not a witch, but I sense her here. She feels so much love for you.
You know, ever since she left, I can't seem to astral project anymore. I keep trying to. I figure I can go see her that way. I think I'm supposed to make peace with the fact that I can't talk to her anymore. Ironic that I could always speak to the dead until I really wanted to. So much I never got to tell her.
She knew you loved her.
I still do.
If there is an afterlife, she still loves you in it.
How could you know that?
Well, they lay in prolonged silence. Interior, the same morning. Light is flooding into the room. Both are in the exact same position. Dean gets out of bed quickly.
Shit.
What is it?
My mother's condition for letting me spend the night was that I still make it to church with her today.
Well, you have time, no?
My clothes reek of cigarettes from the only and the guy I hung out with last night.
And the fact that you were smoking.
How do you know?
It was coming out of your pores all night. Take a shower and I'll run a load of laundry.
Thank you so much.
Dean, I really appreciated you spending the night with me.
I'm here anytime, if you need to talk.
Maybe you can just come spoon me in bed sometimes.
Interior, a laundry room, morning. Rachel pulls clothing out of a dryer. She hands it to Dean.
Thank you.
Car is heard outside.
I think that's my mom.
Dean quickly throws on his clothing. Rachel hugs him.
Rachel,
What is it?
I love you. I also met your mom. She really did too. She was so proud of you.
Interior, the Pheonix kitchen, evening. Dean and June are at the island.
I'm sorry he asked that. That is out of line.
It is what it is.
You know he loves John, right? He's just obsessed with what other people think.
He should worry a little bit more about what I think. You know, for years I begged for the scraps of love from him. We all walk on eggshells not to make him mad. I won't make myself small for anyone though, not even him.
I don't think your father ever knew how to be anything but strong. In 40 years of marriage, I don't think I have ever seen him truly vulnerable.
John enters.
Looks serious over here.
Just talking about George.
About the photo on Facebook?
Yes. I'm sorry, he won't apologize, so I will.
For me, it's just hard because I thought we were past this point. I wanted it to be a straight line.
Movie characters progress in straight lines. Real people don't.
Interior, the Calvary Church, reception room, 2003. The reception room is set up with baked goods and coffees. Dean is pouring himself a cup of coffee. Jeff approaches him. He has a very young grandchild with him.
Dean, right?
Yes.
We miss you at the river.
With respect, Jeff, is it? Your grandchild here seems like a great kid, and I'm glad they exist. I, on the other hand, though, don't have any interest in being anyone other than myself. I'm here for my mother. But the second I never have to come back to this homophobic excuse of a church, I will never look back. If I think of this place at all, it will be to think of people I like. I think of people like you with pity. I mourn for you. You bought into an idea that who you are is shameful. I'm glad that I came to the river last night. It showed me exactly what I don't want for my life. I hope your grandkids bring you joy. How could they not? But I also hope one day you find peace in yourself and come to understand that the only boulders in your perfect river were the ones placed into it by a church who wanted you to hate who you were.
He steps back.
Those weren't my words.
Dean from 2023 walks up to him. The room almost seems to fade. They are together on another plane. They were, but they were actually mine.
Do you have no compassion for him at all? Why were you so hard on him?
Because what he does has hurt so many. It is what unresolved hurt does, like our father's hurt. Hurt left untended to becomes a shard of glass. It won't kill you. Instead, it will crush the spirits of those you love the most. It will extinguish their lights. It will make them small. We owe those we love most to deal with our own shit. He has to deal with his shit. Dad needs to deal with his shit. Spoiler, but you always knew this. Mom does, and we are closer than I ever thought we could be.
I knew it about Mom. I never doubted it. But you? Do you deal with ours? Why are you so angry? Why are you so bitter?
I am angry because I didn't protect you. I didn't tend to your hurt before it could hurt.
It isn't too late to start. Maybe you can stop the hurt now.
I wish I knew how.
Maybe you can start by letting go of the anger.
The room is restored to normal. There is only one Dean in the room. The Dean that logically should be there. Interior, Dean's bedroom, 2023. Dean is in his bed. He gasps. He wakes up. Interior, June's car, morning, 2003. June, Dean, and Vicky are in the car. June is driving.
Who was that older guy you were speaking with?
Which older guy? I don't know.
The old guy with the kid.
Oh, yeah, that older guy. His name is Jeff. He runs a ministry here that I went to once.
Not that one I asked you to go to, was it?
Yeah, that one.
He seemed like a nice man.
He is a nice man. I hope he can learn to love himself someday.
Interior, Dean's car, 2023 day. George and Dean are in the car. A yellow light is just turning red as they approach it. Dean stops.
Why you don't make that light?
We aren't in a hurry. It was about to turn red.
The people behind us could have hitting us.
Did you want to drive?
Yes, I will drive.
Okay, next opportunity to pull over. I will let you drive. Interior, the same car, 2023. George is now driving.
This car no have four-wheel drive.
No, two-wheel.
Always buy four-wheel drive. I'm serious, Costa. Very important.
I'll keep that in mind for next time.
You don't want to listen to me. I notice you're not doing the thing I ask you.
You mean the picture?
I asked you taking down one picture after doing everything for you and your sister. I'm not making you doing it. I ask you nicely. You're not respecting me.
Dad, you aren't respecting me. Like it or not, John and I are married. That is not going to change. Would you ask Vicky to take down a picture of her family?
That is different.
How is it different?
You know, I'm not needing to say it.
I think you do need to say it, Dad. I love you, but I am not removing that picture. And if you want me in your life, you get me as I am.
I still think you need to buy four-wheel drive. I love you, Costa. Not thinking I'm not loving you. One day I will be dead and it will be too late. If my father could tell me advice today, do you know how happy that would make me?
Exterior, Farmcrest Avenue, evening, 2023. Dean and John are walking Stella toward the park. They are passing a house. Arvin is outside getting the mail. I can't do Arvin and Dean. That's not going to work.
Want me to do Arvin? Is he the Albanian?
Please, thank you.
Sure.
Arvin, how are you?
I am good. Just grabbing the mail, walking the dog.
Yes.
Would you two like to come in for a quick beer?
Sure. Interior, Arvin and Esme's living room, continuous. Arvin enters carrying 3 beers. He opens them and hands one to Dean and John.
So your father behaving?
My father?
The other day he was here and we were watching CNN. Anderson Cooper was on. Your dad turned to me and said he's a gay, you know? Gays can be success too.
Problematic as that is, it's kind of sweet.
Your mother told Esme about the picture. I will talk to him if you want. He should have never asked you that.
It just feels like every time I start to let go of things and find space to forgive him, he pulls something like this.
You never had a dad as an adult. It doesn't mean to hurt you.
That's the problem. He can't get himself to stop for 1 second and think about how his actions impact people. More and more, I'm doing my best to make peace with the fact that we won't get to the place of closure that I always hope for. At this point, though, I would settle for him to stop trying to hide me from people. Exterior, Millennium Park, day, 2003. Dean, Jason, Francine, Rachel, Anna, and Dave are nestled in a discreet spot by the water. They are passing a joint.
So he actually asked you why you didn't go back?
He did. I wasn't very kind to him, though. I feel a little bad about it.
Why? Why do you feel badly? He is perpetuating the problem and encouraging queer people to hate themselves.
Sure, but only because he himself hates himself.
I feel badly for him too. I do. But I feel worse for those his ministry is actively harming every day. Fuck him.
Yeah, fuck him.
Fuck him.
Fuck him.
Fuck him, especially for what he did to his wife.
Yeah, fuck him. But also, I can't help but feel for him.
I feel for his wife. Imagine how much homophobia messed up her life. But also, fuck him for doing that to her.
I'm sorry, what page are we on?
200.
The top of 200? No.
Yeah. Well, your first line on 200.
But she also married him knowing he told her that he was gay before. He just claimed he wasn't anymore. She married him knowing that.
You conservative women love marrying gay guys so much.
Are you calling Liza conservative?
The Piedi Natos living room, evening, 2023. Dean, June, John, and Dean are sitting around on chairs. June is watching videos on her phone as George is watching videos on his. Dean leans in and whispers in John's ear. And it is the millennials who are addicted to our phones.
No, I'm watching very important things. I'm watching very important things. You should see, Costa. It is this singer from Greece. Never in my life I'm hearing anyone singing so good. Watch.
He starts to play a video. A singer sings half a note. The video pauses.
I'm pausing to say these are the judges. It is like a competition to see who is nicest singer. Hola talefta.
He plays the song some more.
That's beautiful, George.
Oh, I having the what is called the crumb pass. I saw it on TV.
The family all sits and listens to the music together. Cut to the same a little later. Now Tori Amos, silent all these years, is playing. The song ends.
Well, that is Tori anyway.
So beautiful, her voice. Sexy lady too.
Tamata, George.
She don't like me saying that, but she is. She's a sexy lady. See Costa he bothered too. Always so serious. Always so serious.
Dean laughs. The whole family laughs. Stella comes running up to Dean, demanding to be pet.
What you doing petting her in here? Her hair's shading everywhere. Petting her outside.
Dean stops petting her.
Come here, Stella. Come here.
He starts petting the dog. Camera pans to photos on the wall. It focuses in on the photos of George and June's parents in matching frames. Cut to black. Tori Amos, Sometimes God You Just Don't Come Through, plays as the credits roll.
Your doggy came when I was clapping for it. Come over, Stella. Is her name Stella?
It is.
Oh, wow. How funny.
So that actually was closer to the same
My
length as
cat
the other
heard that and
episodes.
showed up too.
Aww.
I love it. But yeah, so that's that one. I know that we're way later than all the others, so I apologize for that. But I'm realizing that there's 2 episodes in that Pheonix one, and but there's also a lot of fluff that can be cut. So thank you all so much for all your help today. If some of you want to talk about it, you're welcome to. But also I'll see you tomorrow if that's. But yeah, I'll see you tomorrow.
We'll meet you guys. Have fun tomorrow.
Ciao, ciao. Muchas
Ciao, ciao.
gracias. Congratulations. Ciao.
But thank you so much for everything.
And Constantine, I'm reading for the part of the father tomorrow, correct?
You are, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Thank you so much for everything tonight, Tony.
Thank you, Tony.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
You did a great job.
Everybody.
All right. Isa listo. Palagalo. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So yeah, that's that.